Welcome to the For the Boys Sports Podcast. Today on the pod, we will discuss the headlines of the NFL week that was, including the Eagles quarterback situation, the Washington football team playing surprisingly well and taking a commanding lead in the NFC East, or the NFC least. The Packers taking the number one spot in the NFC playoff picture and the playoff pictures in both conferences. We'll also highlight some of the key matchups coming up in Week 15, and we will finish with our fun segment, For Real. But first, for the second week in a row, we will start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They came into Week 14 fresh off a loss to the red-hot Washington football team with a couple hard games still ahead, including the Sunday night game versus the Bills. This was essentially a playoff game with both teams in control of their division. They took a 7-0 lead in the second quarter and went into halftime trailing 9-7. But then the Bills started to find Stephon Diggs, and the Steelers had no answer. They stalled on offense, dropping what seemed like every other pass through the entire game. The Bills took a 26-7 lead midway through the second half and went on to win 26-15. This is the second straight game that the Steelers have dropped. They looked really bad. And for the second week in a row, we will start with our Steelers fan, Bo Shirk. What do you think of this second underwhelming performance from your team?
Well, first off, I don't think we played that bad. Like, listen. First half, it was such a defensive game, okay? We played great on defense, locked up Josh Allen. Our offense, not very good. But it started to show that it was our third game in 11 days in the second half, and we kind of just got so tired. We couldn't keep up with our coverage.
Yeah,
drop passes. I'm not making an excuse for
Okay.
the drop passes. The drop passes that's just
Found a good
we need to work
stat.
on that.
I want to tell you the good
And
stat.
yeah, we're going to start with the
That's a good
Steelers, but we can
stat.
kind of mix like the Browns-Ravens game into this too, because it's all kind of intermixed with the entire like AFC North, like what is a conversation. So yeah, Eddie, as a Browns fan, your team losing. Oh, by the way, Bo, I don't think you can use that like 3 games in 11 days, because the Ravens have played like 3 games in 10 days. They've played games in less days than no, I think they played like 3 games in 11 days, and they just beat the Browns and scored 47 points while doing it. So Browns fan,
But
Eddie, what is
it's
your?
the Browns versus the Bills. I don't get the comparison
No,
there.
I think the Bills
Two
are a little bit better, but I
completely
don't
different
think it's crazy better. Eddie, as a Browns fan, your reaction to the Steelers losing their second straight, and now the Browns dropping one versus the Ravens that they needed to have.
I think we could all see the Steelers one coming, because this was really a flawed football team that
Definitely.
was just finding ways to win games, and people are starting to figure that just all that stuff that they need to, all their weaknesses, they're starting to figure that out. The Browns one, obviously I'm disappointed. I don't really want to talk about it.
But you have
Let's
to,
just
because
say-
it's a sports podcast, Eddie.
Didn't you just say the Browns
Okay.
won, and then you were disappointed?
Oh, he's talking about their loss.
Yeah, I know, but he said the Browns won. Obviously, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, ONE.
There are different meanings.
The
to
Browns won, like the Browns game, like the one game, the ONE. Yeah. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Keep talking, Bo. We're doing a
cereal
podcast
bum.
right now. Go ahead, Eddie. Finish
Is it my
up.
turn?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still your turn.
My biggest take on this game was that Lamar definitely pooped his pants, and not metaphorically.
Yeah, cramps.
Nope.
I just
Those were not
know-
cramps.
Since I'm
Dude,
the
I know
only
what it's
neutral
like.
one,
What?
I don't like either of these teams.
I don't know what it's
Joey's
like.
not.
You know
Can I
what it's
clarify?
Joey's not. Joey's
I know what it's like
obviously-
as a cross-country runner to really have to go like that. And then once you go
Fake
and
the
you're
cramps.
fresh and you come back out, you feel great.
I'm sure that's the
Just
case.
saying.
Me and
Billy.
Joey are
Well-
together on being neutral here,
Yeah.
and I think that we're gonna have the best points. So I think it's my time to talk. Guys.
Yeah, Billy, as an Eagles fan, we'll get to your team in a minute.
No,
but
no. We're
we'll start with this
talking about
AFC North
we're talking about the
conversation.
Steelers and Browns. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that the Steelers are absolute trash. I'm pretty sure I found a stat where both Chase Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster have made more TikToks this season than actual catches, and I thought that was just like kind of funny. As well as Ben Roethlisberger can barely walk anymore. So your offense is pretty bad. Your defense is okay, but after the
You really just
offense
say the
can't do
defense is
anything.
okay when we have the best defense in the league?
Well, I mean, we did kind of collapse in the second half.
They kind of just fell apart, Bo.
Again, because it was our third game in 11 days.
Boo hoo!
All I hear is
I don't care. I don't
excuses.
get third game in
I
11
mean-
days. You have TJ Watt. You have all those players. Either you can play well, you can play good on defense, or you can't. And you can, like, it wasn't like you covered Stephon Diggs and he mossed all your defenders. He was wide
Typically a
open every
team-
time he caught the ball in the second half.
Typically, a team that starts off 11-0 doesn't just lose 2 times in a row.
But I mean, they gave up 16 to Gary Gilbert and the Cowboys down in Dallas. They nearly lost to what's their names in Pittsburgh, Ravens with the JV squad. This was coming, is my point. The first loss was coming. The second loss was definitely coming. And now you play the
this
Colts.
is a PG
Colin Trace
podcast.
McSorley.
I mean,
Joey,
oh,
this is a PG podcast.
I love
Don't say that.
I love Trace McSorley. Trace McSorley is my guy. If they kept in Trace that entire game versus in Pittsburgh, the Baltimore versus Pittsburgh game, I think they would have won. Without RG
Trace-
triple sticks
Trace,
throwing
like,
a
hurt
pick,
his
like
knee or
first
something,
either
didn't he?
closing his eyes and just like throwing across the middle of the field. I hope it doesn't get picked.
Joey,
What?
Joey, I thought Trace fell on his knee and he went off the field.
That was the Browns game, Billy.
Oh, whatever, Joey.
Okay. No, they're flawed offensively, right? Your yards leader is Deontay Johnson. He should have double the yards because he has like double the drops. Your catches leader is Juju. Your touchdowns leader is Claypool. So you don't really have a number one option because all the guys have kind of failed in spots this year. Like Juju's catching the ball, but he's not getting yards after catch. Claypool isn't catching the ball. And when Deontay Johnson catches the ball, he's good, but only if he catches the ball. He's league leader, 12 drops. So unless you guys start to figure it out and kind of come to a cohesive group with an okay offense coordinator, because your offense coordinator is bad, like you need to fire him.
Trust me, I know.
Oh yeah, I believe you because like the whole thing is like they script the drive to start out the game. Like that's like the thing with what's his name, and like Fickner or whatever his name is, like scripts the drive. So like we're gonna run this play and this play. They don't score in their opening drive. They've struggled to score at the beginning of the game. Like they're good in the middle and then they're bad at the end. So they kind of play like 2 quarters of football almost. And I feel like that's gonna come back to bite them in the butt against good teams, and it did in this game. You come out, you play pretty good defense.
Yeah,
maybe.
the Browns.
But you come out and you play okay defense, right? In the first half, not too bad. Or early in the first half, first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, your offense is bad, but you managed to score a touchdown off of one good drive, and then they just kind of stop playing defense. Their offense just doesn't move the ball, and you end up going down 26-7. And in Buffalo versus the Bills, you're never going to win that football game. So it's not
Joey.
you're not playing
Hot
Dallas
take.
where you can come back. There will get to a point versus a good team where you just cannot come back.
Hot take time, Joey. Hot take time.
Okay, go ahead.
The Steelers end the season 11-5.
You're saying we're going to lose to the Bengals?
Another hot take.
I'm not gonna lie.
Can I
I'm
share
not gonna
my
lie,
hot
though. I would not be shocked.
I doubt they can. They have
I'm not
Brandon Allen
expecting it.
quarterback.
I'm not
Tyler Boyd's
expecting
been
it, but I would
pooping
not
all
be
over my
shocked.
fantasy team.
Billy, you're literally retarded. Like
I would
you're
not be
just so
shocked.
dumb.
I would not be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
I would be shocked.
I'm not expecting it, but I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, the Bengals beat the Steelers. No way.
I mean, it sounds like you would be shocked. I'm just saying that right off the gate. I mean, because
And I think
like,
they could
I
very
wouldn't be
easily
shocked.
lose
Like,
to the Colts and very, very easily lose to the Browns.
you can definitely lose to the Colts. I think you will. You can definitely lose to the Browns. That'll be tight. You will not lose to the Bengals. You guys will be 12-4, and you'll win the division on tiebreakers.
I don't know about that, Chief. Big Bengals team coming at you.
The whole thing was the Browns loss. If the Browns beat the Ravens, then I think the Browns would have won the division. But I think the issue is because they didn't.
I think the issue with our podcast is that people take me too seriously. Like, Bo really thinks I think that.
Yeah, I do.
I've kind of seen through that.
I really do.
But back on
view
topic.
Billy as the comedic relief.
Yeah, Billy's our comedic relief guy. No, because Bo, you tell me where you think this does they have no potential moving forward. They're not the team that's going to beat the Chiefs. Nobody's going to beat the Chiefs, but if anybody has a chance, it's not going to be them. Like, tell me
It's
what
gonna
your
be the Browns.
expectations for this team are, Bo, because I just don't.
Well, actually,
don't
I
see
do think that because I feel like we can actually counter the Chiefs.
Well,
No.
I'm just going to start with this caveat.
Listen,
Nobody's beating the
listen.
Chiefs.
Listen.
The Chiefs
Okay,
can
bro.
the Chiefs can beat every
Their-
team in the NFL by 21 with their eyes closed right now.
Listen,
Bro,
no joke.
I'm the person
listen,
that's supposed to be making bad
shut up.
takes, not you.
Listen to me. Listen to what the
And
words
Billy
are
does it
coming out of my
intentionally.
mouth.
Okay,
Listen
shut up.
to the
Shut
words
up. It's
coming
Bo's
out
turn to
of my
talk.
mouth.
It's Bo's turn to talk. Go ahead, Bo.
So I've been watching the Chiefs. Their O-line is average,
It's good.
but it's pretty much deep shots to Tyreek Hill every time. So if we just
Hard to
double,
defend.
when Joe Hayden comes back, we can just double Tyreek. We can just play man on Travis Kelce the entire time. And then pretty
Bo,
much they have to
something
force
tells
the
me-
passes to Sammy.
Okay,
Somebody
okay.
tells me Tyreek Hill's
So,
faster than Joe Hayden.
yeah,
It's just
okay.
a hunch.
Let me
I
me
get
start
that,
with
but if you
this.
double them, that's
Bo,
very
you
rarely
think
gonna
that- you
happen.
think
I
that,
think
like-
Tyreek Hill's faster than everybody on your defense.
Bo, you think that like 14 defensive
double
coordinators
them,
or
do
13 defensive coordinators at this point have not thought of something and it's failed? Like, I know you make it sound super easy, but like Tyreek Hill's like the fastest guy in the league.
Yeah,
you
you
can't
drop
play
the safety.
You can't play Travis Kelce in man coverage.
You cover the deep ball. Let them take the short games. You cover the deep ball.
Yeah, and let them go 10 yards down the field every play and score a
teams
touchdown
haven't-
7.
Teams haven't done that.
Oh,
watch.
Bo's
Literally, if you
Bo's our
literally
defensive
watch-
mastermind. Bo,
if you watch
a team
the
has thought
Dolphins
about this
game-
and they failed.
Listen. You watch the Dolphins game. They tried to do the double, but it failed miserably because they brought the safety down. He checked down. If you have him stay back, then it's an easy coverage.
So just let Tyreek burn you on the comebacks, huh?
Yeah, Bo. I hate to break it to you, but you can't play cover 2 the entire game, anyways. Like,
Yeah, flats.
because then
flats
Travis
don't really
Kelce will just
defend
run
Tyreek Hill.
15 yards over the middle of the field and catch the ball. Believe me,
Yeah,
teams
and
have tried
man
both
to
ways.
man against Travis Kelce, unless you put a
against Tyreek
linebacker
Hill will
on him
get-
that actually has some speed, it's not really gonna work.
Man-to-man versus Tyreek Hill will get you what you saw in the Tampa game,
I said
and
Travis
and
Kelce,
zone
Joey.
coverage will get you
Because
what
that's
you
what Bo
saw
said.
in the Broncos game, where Travis Kelce just catches the ball for 10 yards every play, and you have no answer. Like, it's literally impossible. They played 2 quarters of football versus the Dolphins and still won convincingly. They didn't play the first, they didn't play the fourth, and they were up 20. They will beat every team by a million. And so I'm not saying can the Steelers beat the Chiefs. That's not the question. It's can they somehow make it close enough versus the Chiefs? And I don't think they
I
can.
love how you say they beat every team by a million. Beat the Broncos by 6. Beat the Bucks by 3. Beat the Dolphins by 6. Beat the Raiders by 4. Beat
In
the
the words
Panthers
of
by
Billy,
2.
they weren't trying.
No, that's actually
if you really look at it,
because if you
Bo,
actually watch the games,
Beat the Chargers in OT.
Yes,
The
that-
3-9 Chargers in OT.
in week 2,
Yeah.
Joe,
Okay.
Bo, if you look at it, and if you look at the games closer than just scores, you'll understand.
yeah,
why
Bill. If
they
you
are.
actually watch the Chiefs games, you will
And
see that there's
also,
nobody who's been able to come close to beating them besides the
The
week 2
Dolphins
Chargers.
game was kind of close. That's because
And the Raiders who
Mahomes
actually-
threw 2
And the
interceptions
Raiders
still
and the Raiders in
destroyed
Kansas
them.
City in like week 5 or whatever, week 5, it was something like that. But no, nobody
Also, the
besides
Broncos-
those 2.
Scored more points in the first half than they did the second half. So I don't get your point.
Yeah, the Chiefs did too. I don't know what your point is. Like,
Actually, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs didn't.
I thought they were up like
No, they
10-7.
didn't.
I thought they were up
No.
like 10-7 half.
No.
But what's your point? But what's your
Halftime,
point?
the
The
Broncos were
Broncos.
winning.
But what's your point?
I
That the
don't-
Broncos scored like 6 in the
point-
first
my
half and
point
10
is
in the
the
second.
My point is the Chiefs don't give up every game. They literally had to come back for the Broncos-Chiefs game.
Because they're
Well,
not
like 3 points in the
trying,
first
and
quarter.
They come back.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yet your point earlier, Billy, was that if you look closely at the scoring, that the other team scored more points in the second half, and the Chiefs scored less points in the second half.
I did not say that. Joey said that.
I think this is a classic case of a guy who co-hosts a sports podcast not watching sports. Okay, but I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm going to move on.
That's tough, bro.
Maybe we can wrap the Steelers and the Browns
Can
back
I
in our
close
discussion.
with one last
yes,
thing?
Eddie Browns fan can close.
Bo, I do not regret saying that the Browns could win the division, and I still think they
I still
can
think
win the
they
division.
will.
I still think it's a possibility.
I don't think they're
I
gonna. They
think
have
they
to. They
You
have to
got
lose to
mad
the
at me even
Bengals.
then.
Eddie, let's make a bet. All right. Browns win the division. I will burn my Steelers jersey of Le'Veon Bell.
You should have burnt that thing already.
I will
You
stop
should have
talking
burnt
trash
that a
talk.
long
I will
time.
stop talking trash talk on the Browns.
I mean, either way, the Browns are going to make it
I
further.
mean, I'll take that obviously.
The Browns are going to
because
make it further in the
there's
playoffs for
nothing in it
sure.
against them.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
They actually have the better chance to beat the Chiefs because talent is talent, right?
Yeah,
And
I
you,
agree.
you look at the Browns and they just have so much potential. So they could just
Like
have
Baker
a fluke
Mayfield.
game.
Oh my God,
One of
best
those maybe
quarterback.
1 in 5 games where Baker looks like an MVP and everything is just clicking.
Okay,
They
so
have those games every once in a while. That gives them the better chance to beat the Chiefs, honestly.
right now, if I look at the playoff picture, I don't think the Steelers can beat anybody in the playoff picture. I think they will lose.
Dolphins.
Oh my
I
God.
think they will
That'd
lose
be
to
a little
everybody in the
far.
playoff
That
I
picture
don't
right
might
now.
think we can't beat the Dolphins.
No, I don't think you guys can beat the Dolphins.
Tua can go off.
I don't think you guys can beat the Dolphins.
This is what happens when you get.
But when is
paired
the
up
last time
with
you
an-
beat a good team this year? It's been a few weeks.
Yeah,
We just
it's
lost
been
2 times
quite
in
a
a row
few
to
weeks,
teams that
actually.
aren't that good.
It's been like the Browns
Well, the Bills are good.
in like
Whatever.
week 9. Bo,
This is-
honest
this
question.
is- this is-
Honest
this
question.
is my-
Honest question before we move
I
on.
get paired up with a Patriots fan who automatically hates the Steelers. Like
But
Bo, if you
nobody
watch
really
the
likes
game-
knowledge as Steelers
every
fans.
other year, he would rip on us for the Steelers being decent to bad, and the Patriots being amazing. But then the
It
one
was
year that the
true.
Patriots are bad and the Steelers are good, he still rips on us.
He doesn't want to say amazing.
And nobody ever rips on the Patriots.
Bo, have
That's
you
not
lived?
true. The
Bo,
Patriots
you
suck.
need to live my
We've
life
been
for a
ripping on the
day.
Patriots.
Welcome to that, Bo. Welcome to that, Bo. I gotta say, that is the most out of this world take I've ever heard. That nobody rips on the Patriots. Live my life for a
Not
day.
this season. Not this season.
And not this season because we got Demir Bird as our best wide receiver. Sorry about that. I would much rather have Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron than Jacoby Myers, Demir Bird, and Ryan
You know
Izzo.
what's funny?
What? What's funny?
I'm pretty sure Juju doesn't average over 50 yards per game.
Oh no, Juju's had a mediocre season. He's got to get off the team's logo doing TikToks and start catching balls. But okay, moving on.
Yeah, but we haven't. How many passes do we have over 20 yards?
Yeah,
you know
what's funny?
Like,
Not too many
I'm
because
saying
Fat
pass
Ben
attempts.
keeps getting himself hurt.
Bo, you know what's funny? I'm trying to look at Juju Smith-Schuster's stats in my fantasy league, and nobody has him. He's a free agent.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna move
It's
past
fantasy football.
this discussion. This will definitely be a topic of conversation
Does not average over 50 yards. He's
in
had
future
very
weeks,
bad
but
games.
we will move
6
on.
yards versus the Browns.
We
He's
will
a bad man.
move on.
I think Bo's depressed.
He definitely is. He's been awakened to the reality of his situation.
It feels
But
good. It feels good.
anyways,
I'm happy that I'm not.
but
the
guys,
only
we
one.
are moving on. The Eagles had a quarterback controversy last week when we came into the pod. A week later, it is no controversy. Jalen Hurts just beat the Saints, who were the number 1 team in the NFC. He did it rather convincingly too. Great performance by him. Great performance by the Eagles defense. They looked reinvigorated. Saints are struggling a little bit, but I really want to focus on the Eagles right now because I don't think Carson Wentz will have a job this year. The question is, will he have a job in future years? But starting with this game, 27-24, I believe it was, versus the Saints.
24-21.
24-21 versus the Saints. Billy, you're an Eagles fan. You can eat your words about Carson Wentz, but you got to be happy about the team's overall performance.
Well, I think, and I have a theory, and it's proven. It's 100% true. So
It's that they started trying.
Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson comes into the season. He's like, Howie wants us to tag for a draft pick, man. Carson Wentz like, I got you. But Doug's like, how are we gonna do that? Carson Wentz comes out, he starts throwing picks, taking sacks, and just to like look like they're not tanking, they're like, okay, good job, Carson, put you on the bench now, right? Then Jalen Hurts comes in, he's like, I don't like this tanking thing, Doug. And he's like, you're gonna play bad. We're trying to tank here. And Jalen Hurts comes out, he's like, nah, I ain't listening to Doug. Comes out and plays good. And I think it just proves that we are a great team. And if we really weren't tanking
you
this
guys
year,
aren't getting
we'd
over 5
probably be
wins.
undefeated. And also, I just want to point out, I forget, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the only reason why we came out of tanking today, I mean, not today, this week, it
Okay.
wasn't only because Jalen Hurts was like, he doesn't want to tank, it's because the Cowboys won. And, like, we can't be below the Cowboys.
I think that's true. I mean, the Cowboys
Yeah,
are
like,
hot trash.
Basically, our rules is that we lose every game unless the Cowboys win that week.
Well,
Because we don't want to be below the Cowboys.
the silver lining is that if the Cowboys win out, the Eagles do not make the playoffs anyway. So, Billy,
You're not gonna make the playoffs, Joey.
yeah. I mean, I think so. Basically, you guys would have to beat. You have Washington, which you guys are favored to lose. Obviously, Washington's looking pretty good, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Joey,
But you guys have.
I would be ecstatic if we lost out. Only if the Cowboys lost out.
No. You want if you lost out, you want the Cowboys to win so you can get a better draft pick.
Yeah, but I don't want to be below the Cowboys, Joey. But it's not about draft picks. It's about pride.
It's about
It's not about draft picks. In the group chat, all you talk about is how we're tanking for draft picks.
Yeah, but then
that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense.
But we hate the Cowboys, right?
Okay.
We don't want to be worse than the Cowboys.
So let me just say this. So you guys have the Cardinals this coming week. You have the Cowboys in Dallas the week after that, and in the new year you guys have Washington at home to close out the regular
they're losing all three of those.
Dallas.
Yeah, they're losing all three of them.
We already beat Dallas this year, but
I believe you guys are favored to lose all three. So
what?
There you go.
Dallas doesn't even have like a good quarterback at all. We have Jalen Hurts.
No, they have Andy Dalton, bro. They have Andy Dalton. Respect the hair.
Hey, Billy.
Okay. Eddie,
Bo,
as a
11-2 L.
Eddie is a nonpartisan bystander. What do you think of Jalen Hurts' performance?
11-2. Imagine not having a winning record.
Bo. Here's the thing: when my team was 11,
okay, I'm gonna mute the
for
peanut
now.
gallery. Okay, Eddie, what do you think?
Thank God Joey has hosting capabilities.
When I was 11-2, I won the Super Bowl. You're not.
Okay, Eddie, what do you think?
It was impressive, but I mean, I just don't think it changes much for the Eagles. The one winner of this, I think, actually is Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz has it better than a lot of people are thinking. He's getting the bag, and he's just sitting on the sideline doing nothing. You got that? What is it? Like a max contract?
He's got so much money just coming to him over the next 2 years.
He's just sitting on the bench.
The announcers.
You already got the ring. You can really retire now and be rich.
I think they have
just sit on the bench and get money.
They say that Carson Wentz, when he was good, he had John DeFilippo as quarterback coach, and he had the announcers said, and he had Mark Reich as his offensive coordinator.
Oh, that's a fine. Frank Reich.
Mark Reich's a good. Frank Reich, whatever, dude. He's a good offensive coordinator. So
Mark Reich.
We're gonna ship him off to the Colts. He'll win another Super Bowl. We'll be like, good job, Carson.
Do the Colts really want him?
No, the Colts don't want him. That's exactly what
I think that's the question.
I listen to the Pat McAfee show. Shout out to him. And he's obviously former Colts player, Colts fan, and the rumors are that Carson Wentz might go to the Colts to reunite with Frank Reich, not Mark Reich, Frank Reich.
Never gonna happen.
Which I don't think is ever gonna happen. Why would you do that?
Phillip Rivers and
one bad quarterback to another. Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz. But anyways, he's like any other quarterback, please, just not Carson Wentz. Like literally nobody wants Carson Wentz right now. And really, the Eagles don't
respect his opinions, to be honest.
Oh, you should. But
he's just a big drunk guy that yells with like a little rasp in his voice, and he kicks balls.
We'll talk afterwards. But honestly, the Eagles don't want Carson Wentz either.
Exactly, Bo. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I feel.
Bo just showed the Browns team after Lamar pooping meme with the DK Metcalf rundown. But anyways, we're still on the
Still on the Eagles. The Eagles don't want Carson Wentz either because he's got a 4-year, $128 million contract.
Yeah, it's just too much dead cap, Joey.
There's
I'm
too
getting
much
an
dead
alpha
cap
for
in the
that.
first. Yeah, there's too much dead cap in the first 2 years. That's the issue. Like this year,
So he's just gonna be on the practice squad making a bunch of
So-
figures.
so
Shut
yeah.
up, you bomb.
so like literally, the issue is that Carson Wentz he makes around the same amount. He makes like 30, 34 next year, 31 the year after that. But the dead cap is what hurts him in the next 2 years, and that's what's going to come back to bite him if they can't figure that out with him. It's way too much. They can't afford it. You can't be salary cap. Like
You won't be able to get anybody new, so you will be stuck with Jalen Hurts, or maybe you drafted a quarterback for the next at least 2
I'm not
years if
drafting
you guys
a
get rid of
quarterback.
Carson Wentz.
it's a bad
I'm okay with
situation.
Jalen Hurts for now. I don't think he's our future, but I think he'll start a few games over the next few years.
He's definitely good enough, but I think also like the Saints, they looked tired. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing. It's like they didn't know
Oh,
how
it's
to.
so funny.
It's
bro.
almost like they
Oh, so
didn't.
funny.
It's like they didn't know how to play okay, we're moving past some
Lies.
Lamar Jackson thing.
Lies.
That's such a lie.
Okay,
Oh, I get cramping.
guys,
Too.
Stay on topic. Stay on topic.
I mean, it was on
the
top.
Saints defense. Saint, we're on the Saints defense right now. Saints defense looked like they didn't know how to play. It looked like they had never seen Jalen Hurts play football before, and they went out onto the field trying to defend.
Well,
Joey,
most people haven't.
Joey, I'm gonna say something that might surprise you, but Jalen Hurts hasn't played an NFL game yet.
Yeah, but he's played many college football games.
Yeah, with
And
different
people
receivers
know what
against
he
I'd say
is.
very though.
offenses. And on
Yeah,
different,
he
two
played.
different offensive
Eddie, he
systems.
played like 3 years. Went to 2 national championship games.
hmm Yeah, I know
on two
about that,
different teams.
but
He played
against NFL defenses,
No,
no one really
I mean,
knows how to
obviously,
react to him.
but I
yet.
mean, but people know that Jalen Hurts isn't going to take the ball and sling it around the yard, and they know that he's
They actually
gonna.
have.
They know that he's gonna throw. He's not a bad throwing quarterback, but he has legs. He's gonna run. And the
They
Saints
kinda have
defense
a
went
little
out
bit
there
of
like he was
reasoning
never
for
gonna
these
run.
guys.
They looked like he was just gonna be Patrick Mahomes, just like chucking balls like 40 yards downfield every play. Like they had nobody to spy him. They had nobody to stop the run. The Miles Sanders run, he barely got touched. Like in the Saints defense.
Nah, he stiff armed Malcolm Jenkins.
Nah. Malcolm Jenkins like tried to like dive at him from behind Billy. Like that's.
I don't see what it says. That's the Grinch, just like my nuts. Ha 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 ha.
My word. Guys.
Hey Joey.
This is a sports podcast.
I think Joey, I think I have an idea. Joey.
What's your idea?
I think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback, but I think that he had early success in his season because in his career because he went to a D2 school and nobody really knew who he was. He was
FCS.
D3
Show
even.
the FCS some respect.
Yeah.
Go on.
Nobody really knew what he was about besides, the best franchise in football history. Nobody knew what he was about. So, he was good that season, and then once he was good, people knew what he was about, and he was fast.
I kind of agree with that. But I mean, the issue is he can't run. He can't really throw.
Anymore.
He can run, but I think he's scared to now.
He's almost like a Cam Newton runner.
Because
Like,
he doesn't know how to keep himself healthy, really. So
Yeah, I mean, well,
he ran until he injured his knee, and
Yeah.
once he injured his knee, he hasn't been running.
no, I agree with that. I think
But,
he's
what I
scared.
saw-
I don't think he trusts himself on the football field anymore. I
Something
don't.
that I saw, Joey, in that game was Jalen Hurts. He runs away from the sacks, where Carson Wentz just takes the sacks.
Yeah,
And I don't think all the sacks are really on the offensive line. I think they're partly Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. I believe the number is he's been sacked 50 times this year. 50 times.
Because he's fat.
Yeah, no, 50 times
I don't know
divided.
about that.
50 divided by
he's
12.
looking like Big Ben out there.
Yeah, no, very much so.
Joey. It's
Yeah, it's
4.5,
fat.
Joey. It's 4.5, Joey. It's 4.5, Joey.
It is. Bill, you're absolutely right. Jalen Hurts got
Nah.
sacked 0 times.
Yeah, and I think it's not. I don't think it's the offensive line. The only offensive
No,
line
it's-
blunders I saw were false starts, and that's because it's a new cadence. And guy behind him.
You're exactly right. No, I think your point about the about about the sacks and all is like Jalen Hurts is a different kind of runner than Carson Wentz. Just like Lamar Jackson's a different kind of runner than Cam Newton.
Yeah,
In that they're better. Yeah, in that they're better, but they're scramblers. They'll make stuff happen with their legs. Whereas Carson Wentz and Cam Newton are fine on their
They
legs.
only do it if they have to.
They're strong runners, but they only do it if they have to. They want to be able to stand in because they're not fast and quick shifty. They're not going to
they're
juke a
like-
bunch of defenders.
They want to be field generals even though they're not good enough to be.
Exactly. You get there?
I just burped. It's not
Yeah, I
big deal.
heard that.
Let's
Okay.
move on.
Yeah,
Let's
let's-
move on. I'm sick of this. I don't like the Eagles. Eagles bad.
Okay, good. That's definitely not what you're saying. Oh, Billy. Billy, I'll give you 1 minute. Do you want to eat your words about Carson Wentz being a better player than Jalen Hurts in this Eagles offense? Start.
I never said that. I said
No,
I think
that's
Carson
cap.
Wentz.
That's cap.
I think Carson
Bo,
Wentz
Bo,
is
one
a
minute
better player,
interrupted. Go
and
ahead.
I still think Carson
Sounding
Wentz
like
is
the
a better
presidential
player.
debate.
Yeah.
Only because Carson Wentz has really proved himself. Jalen Hurts has played one game. Carson Wentz hasn't been good in a while. I still think he's the better player. I don't think he should be starting. I said that last week. Bo doesn't believe me, but I did. You can go back. I said that Jalen Hurts should be starting, even though I don't think he's better than Carson Wentz. And yeah, I think next year Carson Wentz will start out the season. I think it would help if we have a preseason, because that would actually I think that would kind of decide who's going to play a little bit. But I think it helped Carson Wentz get settled in, you know. And I mean, I just don't see a guy making as much money as he is per year sitting on the bench to start a season, even if Jalen Hurts is the better fit. I don't know.
Who would want him though?
What?
It's the Al Horford situation where it's like he should really be a backup center, but you paid him all this money and you got to start him.
We traded away Al Horford. Nobody wants Carson Wentz.
I know, except
away.
you
Yeah,
don't have
well,
Daryl Morey
yeah.
to work magic with Carson.
Yeah, we
Wentz.
don't have the best GM in sports history.
You guys need to hire like what's his name?
I heard that
Like,
football
Billy
teams
Bean.
actually reached out. Football teams actually reached out to Daryl Morey to take a GM job.
That guy's a
And he turned
master
him
of the books.
His
He's really
IQ
good.
is in the thousands.
Okay, we're gonna move on. I have next on our docket the Packers. The Packers are looking good, taking the number 1 seed from the Saints after the
MVP.
Saints loss. They're now in the driver's seat. If they win out, they will win the conference and take the only bye now. They just one bye and they will take the number 1 bye.
To me, Joey,
Yeah,
all this Mahomes MVP talk is ridiculous.
Aaron Rodgers is my MVP.
Hey, ridiculous.
Aaron Rodgers is insane. He's really, really, really good. Billy, let's go back to you as the NFC guy here.
It only takes Joey the 1 year for Tom Brady not to be at the Patriots for him to realize that Aaron Rodgers is good.
No, Aaron Rodgers has
I don't
always
think
been
that's
good,
what
Bo. He's not as good as Tom Brady in the overall
Yeah,
conversation.
he led a 6 seed to beat your Steelers.
Maybe
in the
not
Super
overall,
Bowl.
but this season, of course.
So,
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, not this season, he's playing better, like just playing better, and he's always had more talent, but he just doesn't win enough. That's why Brady's the best of all
I
time.
mean, it also helps when they
Sometimes
have
he gets
Devontae
injured.
Adams.
Oh, definitely. And Big Bob Tunyon, he's amazing. 15 touchdowns, I
heck.
think, already.
Bob Dunyan, hey.
Big Bob is my guy. Aaron Jones, they don't hand him the rock enough, as reflected in my fantasy team. But they got
you're
good
just bad
talent.
at fantasy.
I mean,
I lost my semifinals. My one league, my semifinals are like 2-week matchups, and I lost.
Billy,
So-
save the grievances. We're talking about the Packers right now. They have
So I'm in a
played.
third place
fair.
game. I'm favored to lose.
Billy, shut up.
He doesn't even have all his players put in, so I have to work on that. In other leagues,
Billy,
I
Billy,
made
shut
playoffs
up.
in this league.
Okay, so we're talking
So I made
about.
playoffs in the other league too. And
Can somebody remove him from the meeting or something?
Hosting capabilities
I'll
now.
stop.
I'm trying.
Not a big. I'll stop. No, do that.
Okay, thank you. Packers are looking good. They have great weapons. All their weapons are back now. They lost to the Colts because they just couldn't hold on to that lead defensively mainly. Raj is playing like he's going to win the MVP, which he should. He already has. I think he's at I think he's at 39, 38 touchdowns, something like that. He's playing amazing. They got tight ends. They got wide receivers. They got a solid defense. They got those Smith brothers who aren't actually brothers, but they have the same last name. And they, true story. And they really love sacking the quarterback, and they do it a lot, which is what you need to do to win football games. No, but they're 10-3. They will easily win their division. They don't really have a ton of. They don't have a really hard matchup left in their season. I think they can win out, and I think they can win the conference, and that begs the question: since the Saints will not be playing as the number 1 seed, do we think the Saints can be beat in the NFC? Is there any team that can beat the Saints?
I mean,
Besides-
we already
besides
proved
Pat,
I think it's
the
really the
Saints are very
Packers, the Saints,
beatable.
and then drop off.
I would agree with
Cardinals.
that. The Cardinals are
The
such
Saints
an
aren't that
interesting
good
team.
without Drew Brees.
I don't know if I think I might have said this in the group chat. I don't think I said this last pod.
They were your
Cardinals
sleeper
are
Super Bowl
literally
picks.
the Cardinals are literally the craziest team. They can beat any team besides the Chiefs and do it easily, and they can lose to any team besides like the Jets and the Jags. We've seen it already this year. It's insane. It's insane the way that they play. They lost to Washington football team. They beat the Seahawks. Like it's like literally
Well,
they make
the Giants
no sense.
also beat the Seahawks.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
They beat the Seahawks when the Seahawks were they ended the Seahawks undefeated season, making the Steelers the only undefeated team at the time. So like, the Seahawks were on fire. That's when Russ was throwing for like 10 touchdowns a game,
And now he's trash.
and now he's pretty trash. Starting with
Well-
that game,
There's a Baker Mayfield cycle. There's also a Russell Wilson cycle,
yeah, I agree.
and I think the Russell Wilson cycle isn't as public. But
There's a State Farm cycle too.
basically,
Which is what the two leading
Patrick
MVP
Mahomes
candidates
and
have.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Have commercials for State Farm.
They got the Mahomes rate and the Rodgers
The
rate.
Rodgers rate. Rodgers
No, it's
is
the
awesome.
Mahomes markdown. It's the Mahomes markdown and the Rodgers rate.
Baker
Every
has the
season-
best commercials, though. Don't even
that's
compare
not-
Baker's
they're
commercial
not even
game
funny.
to
They're not
the
even
State
Not
Farm.
Jake
at
from
all.
State Farm. Jake
They're
from State
funnier
Farm
than the
is a
State
real
Farm. Dude, Patrick
The
is
State
a
Farm
trash
ones are
actor.
meant to be funny.
Aaron is
Hey,
amazing.
Jake, man. Hey, Jake, man. Thank you for the Mahomes rate on my, whatever. Oh, you can wear the
No.
ring. But only
Look,
for
all,
a day.
look at all this ketchup I can
But
put
you
on my
have to be
steak.
fair. You
Look
have
how
to
it can
be
ruin
fair
the
here,
steak.
Eddie, do you remember the old State Farm ones with Aaron Rodgers?
I got a
with
pump
that big guy wearing
you
the
up.
cheese.
He was good.
Yeah.
Are you talking
See,
about
you
the
gotta be
Arnold
fair
ones
to the OG.
with Schwarzenegger?
No, you know
But Patrick
you know the
Mahomes
guy
is a
that
bad
would be
actor.
like the guy that would yell at Aaron Rodgers. I forget what he yelled, but he was like wearing his.
You
cheese
act like
head and
Patrick
all that.
Mahomes is going to be a good actor when he's not an actor. He's an NFL
He's not.
player.
I mean,
I'm talking
Well,
about
Rodgers
Aaron
isn't
what I'm
either,
saying
Rodgers,
is he's a worse actor. The question is who has the better commercials, and Baker Mayfield by far is the best actor of those three, even if
I have
he's the
never
worst quarterback.
laughed at
Maybe
one
he
of
practices
his
acting
commercials.
more than he should practice his NFL.
I
Maybe
agree
that's
with
why
that.
Oh, what
Patrick
do you-
Mahomes is
dude.
winning the MVP race.
I
agree.
really don't think it's a big deal.
We got people coming this weekend, bro. We have to clean my house. Let's go. You take the lawnmower. Ha, ha, ha,
The one with the
ha.
storm coming in is pretty good.
Okay. So on that, we're gonna kind of transition a little bit from the Packers being the number 1 seed and kind of transitioning that into the larger playoff picture. Because in the AFC, it's looking up. It's pretty set. I think the only thing that's left really for decision, I think, at this point is the Ravens and the Dolphins. Both teams are 8.
I think you're gonna eat your words when the Browns overtake the Steelers in the AFC North. But you know,
Both teams are 8-5 between the Ravens and the Dolphins. I would give a slight edge to, just looking at the schedules here, I would give a slight edge to the Ravens, simply because they have the Jags, the Giants, and the Bengals, where those they should be able to win those 3 games. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Bills. They could lose all
those
3.
Patriots are really going to beat up on those Dolphins. Holy.
I think the Patriots are going to lose, but I the Patriots and the Dolphins always play weird games. And the Patriots did beat the Dolphins by a solid amount earlier in the year, and they looked better in the
Earlier in
actual.
the year, what was it, week 1?
It was week 1, yes. But I mean that was before Cam had COVID, right? So
And wasn't that also before Tua?
Yeah, but that's back when
People-
Fitzmagic. That's when Fitzmagic was playing good. I still don't know where they benched
Yeah,
him.
Fitzmagic
kinda
plays
screwed him
good
over.
like 2 or 3 weeks.
Also,
Who do you
Titans.
think winning Rookie of the Year?
We're not talking about that right now,
Defensive
though.
Rookie of the Year is probably Chase Young.
Yeah, definitely Chase
I'd
Young.
probably say Chase Young.
And offense is going to be Herbert. But
Mhm.
moving on. Titans.
Could be
Titans and Colts are both 9-4.
Neither
That
are
obviously
good.
the AFC South is probably going to take the 4th
You know
seed
what's
this
funny?
year.
Bo says the Titans aren't that good, even though that's one of the teams that he says that are good that they beat.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, we are moving on, guys. Come on. Colts Colts have Texans at home. They're at Steelers, and then they are home versus Jags. Those should be 2 easy wins and a good game versus the Steelers. Meanwhile, the Titans have Lions at home, out on the road versus the Packers, on the road versus the Texans. I would give an edge to the Colts in that, though. The issue is if both teams do go 2-1, and their losses to the team outside the division. So if the Colts lose to the Steelers and the Titans lose to the Packers, it does not matter. The Titans still win the division. So I think that's basically a toss-up. If the Colts can beat the Steelers and the Titans lose to the Packers, obviously the Colts would be in the driver's seat in the division. Steelers would have to lose the rest of their games. Bengals, Colts, and I'm missing one. Browns. If they were to lose the division, the Browns would have to win out. So basically, the AFC it is possible, but improbable. So basically, it looks like the Chiefs, Steelers, Bills, Titans, Browns, and Colts are all going to be in the playoffs. The only seed really up for contention is Dolphins, Ravens, and if the Raiders are also able to win that game versus the Dolphins, they can catapult themselves into that playoff picture. But really, at this point, it's really maybe a 9-team race. Technically, the Patriots and the Broncos are still in the hunt, but they will be eliminated soon. The NFC is where it gets interesting, right? Because you have the Packers and the Saints. The Packers have already won the division. They're 10-3. They're the number 1 seed
Saints
right
have
now.
too.
If they win out, they will win the conference. The Saints are sitting right there, and will they look good when Drew Brees comes back? We'll have to see about that. Rams are in the,
Do you guys think Drew Brees is going to be back this week for the Chiefs game?
They shouldn't rush him back.
How long
There's
has he
no
been
reason
out?
to.
I think they're
Yeah,
not
but they're
going.
playing the
I don't
Chiefs.
think they're going to rush him back. Honestly,
How long
they
has
should.
Drew Brees
They
been
should,
out? Like,
so
when
the
did he
Chiefs
get
lose.
injured?
Drew Brees has been out for, I think, 5-6 weeks at this point.
Like, to me, 11 ribs and a punctured lung doesn't take 5 or 6 weeks. That's like a broken finger. That's how long that takes to heal. So
Oh yeah.
I doubt he should be playing.
Yeah,
But
I agree, but maybe he's fine. I don't know. The real interesting division race in the NFC is between the Rams and the Seahawks. The Rams, I would give them the edge. I think they're the better team, but they played the Jets this week. That's an easy win. They're at the Seahawks. That'll be a game that could potentially decide the division. And then the last game of the season, they're at home versus the Cardinals. While meanwhile, it's the Seahawks and the Rams do have that meetup in Week 16.
Do we think both of those teams are? Do we think Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals are all making playoffs?
We'll get to that in a minute. Seahawks are at Washington. They're at home versus the Rams. They're at the 49ers. They could lose all those games. So I think I
Not
would
the
definitely.
Niners are trash.
Seahawks are
They're
looking
trash.
pretty bad,
They're
bro.
trash.
But yes,
They're really bad.
I would definitely give them the edge versus I would probably say Washington too, but I think they could definitely lose to all three. Meanwhile, the Bucks are sitting at 8-5. They could still potentially take the division from the Saints, but it's looking unlikely at this point.
It's not happening.
However,
Well, they did sign Giannis, so
yeah, I know, right? The Saints are at home versus the Chiefs. They will lose. They're at home versus the Chiefs. I believe that they will lose. They're at home versus the Vikings. The Vikings are a big question mark too. I don't know which Vikings team shows up there. And then they have the Panthers. So I would definitely give the Saints the edge in one game, and I would give them a guaranteed win in another. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers close out at the Falcons, at the Lions, and then against the Falcons again. I think they can win all those 3 games. So I think you're looking at a situation where the ball is really in the Saints' hand at that point, whether they but I believe the Saints will have to lose all 3 games because of tiebreakers, and so that looks tough. It looks like the Saints are going to win that division. And back to Bo's point of if can the Cardinals, the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals all make the playoffs? The answer is absolutely yes, because all 3 are currently in the playoffs if the season were to end today. Cardinals.
But it doesn't.
Yeah, go ahead. You're saying something?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I'm thrown off now. You guys are going to say something. Cardinals are 7-6, and they are a game up on the next team. The next teams are 6-7. So they're at home versus the Eagles, at home versus the Niners, and at the Rams. If they can win all those 3, they will be in the playoffs. The interesting thing about the NFC playoff picture is technically no team has been eliminated so far. Every team still has a mathematical possibility of making the playoffs, but there are some big statistical improbabilities, such as the Cowboys, the Falcons, and the Panthers, all at 4-9. The Eagles are at 4-8-1, and the Giants are at 5-8. They will need to win the division. There's really not a way that they can get into the playoffs in the wild card at this point. Meanwhile, the Niners are 5-8. They can still potentially make it in, but I doubt they will. Lions at 5-8, Bears and Vikings at 6-7. So if I were to guess, there might be shuffling inside what happens in the playoffs, but I think these teams that are already in the playoffs are pretty set. What do you guys think?
Oh, if you don't get the goddamn.
What are we
What?
talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys
I
didn't
was
follow that?
literally scrolling Instagram the entire time he was talking about playoffs.
I hate you guys. This is the playoff picture. This is what you get here on the For the Boy Sports podcast. But no,
Quality content.
But no, this is what the playoff picture is looking like, and I think it's pretty set. I think the Packers will probably win the conference, though they do have a couple tough games remaining. They're at home versus the Titans on Sunday Night Football, and they're at the Bears. I don't know. That shouldn't be an issue, but you never know.
The Redskins being up there really confuses me. That's terrible.
The football
So-
team,
Oops.
the indigenous people, Eddie.
Oops.
The indigenous people. Come on.
Respect.
To me, if you,
You know,
want to
honestly,
talk about
I will
quality
start calling
football
them by their
teams
new
that
name
have a
when they
chance
actually
to be
come
the
up with a
best
name
ever,
that's easy to remember.
Billy's gonna, Eddie's gonna start calling them we should call Eddie the Washington football slurs, because he's just slurring the indigenous people at this point. The second
thing
time
is,
he's
if
done
you want
this.
to talk about best
When they actually
NFL
have a
teams
name,
to
that's
ever
like
wear,
easy to
indigenous
remember.
people.
Oh, by
if you
the
want to talk
way,
about the best NFL teams like ever,
indigenous
like
people.
over the history, I would say this year's Washington football team's up there, man. I mean,
they got a great
Uh,
defense. They got a great
team.
defense. Their defense is
think-
incredible.
I
Go
think if they start trying, I think that they'd probably win the Super Bowl. But that's just my opinion. I think they're probably the best team in the NFL right now. But I just want to say the NFC East, Eagles beat the Saints, Giants beat the Seahawks, and Redskins beat the Steelers. So, no big deal.
Yeah, just looking at Washington football team defense at this point, they're 4th in points per game. No, yeah, they're 4th in points per game. They're pretty good against the rush, but I think where they make their money is against the pass. Yeah, they're like 3rd against the pass, they're 9th against the rush, and they're 4th in total points and points per game. They got one of the best defenses in the league, and even though their offense cannot score worth anything, they can play well enough that they've on defense. That is that I think they can make a little bit of a run. I don't think they can really make a run, but I think they can do it a little bit. But
What else do we have to talk about, Joey? Because this is very boring.
playoff picture is very exciting, man.
But okay, since
No.
nobody
It's
seems to
only
be in the
exciting
playoff
Joey's
because
picture,
you're in
lecture.
it, Joey.
Since nobody seems to be in the playoff picture, we will go to everybody's favorite segment, For Real. Oh yeah,
Can we talk about how Myles Garrett is the Cleveland Browns nominee for Man of the Year?
he's the
What a bounce back.
he's
You know what's
comeback
funny?
player of the year.
What makes me laugh is that Ron McLeod, like during the Eagles game, they announced him as the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Eagles, and then
No.
he just like goes out and tears his ACL like 2 plays later.
He's the man of the
So I
year,
thought
man.
that was pretty
Okay,
funny.
so This week's episode of For Real is going to be from
A doozy. Oh my gosh.
www.upi.com. I got no idea who they are, but if you want to check out these headlines, you can go right there.
This sounds like it's not a credible source, Joey.
They're one of those websites that turn you to like those things. It's like, congratulations, you've won a $100 Google Play gift card.
Joey's currently answering the trivia questions to win his $500 Amazon gift card.
I shouldn't have mentioned that, but okay.
It's one of those ones that when you click on an article, it's like, we use cookies to ensure your safety.
Bo's got major disdain for the segment, so we're gonna actually start with him. This first headline: coyote wanders into Florida fire station. Bo, if a coyote just wandered into your house, what would you do?
Kill it.
With what?
My hand strangled it.
Yeah, barehanded. I just choke it. You know the vibes.
Okay. Next headline. Wow, that was a banger. Okay. Next headline. 2 dogs rescued from septic tank in Florida.
Why?
This seems to be a recurring
Again.
theme in Joey's headlines.
I think we
It's
should
always
get
someone
somebody
being
on
stuck
the
in a pool of-
septic tanks. Like, they seem to be a little dangerous.
The real question is if they would take after Billy. And
can the dog
do the
dolphin dive?
Okay. Next headline. We got
Love this segment.
loose pig captured in New York City park. Second pig still on the loose.
Oh no!
Wow, so funny. Ha 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 ha. I'm cracking up. Holy, that's a knee slap. That's a knee slapper. Holy.
Next headline. Porch pirate steals bait box filled with cat poop.
Congrats.
Okay, next headline.
I love this segment.
Everybody's favorite segment.
It's just
Nobody
Joey
cares.
awkwardly reading headlines.
Just scrolling the news.
Man, okay, this is a good one. Man buys 160 tickets for one lottery drawing, wins 160 times.
Wait, what? He won
That's
every
a little
time?
sketchy.
Let's look into this a little more.
You know what today's
Jeez.
word of the day is?
This is
What a
the
guy.
quality type of news that
Do you guys want
expect from
to know what today's
UTI.com.
word of the day is for that news story?
What?
Embezzlement.
Okay, I'm just reading the first paragraph. A Virginia man said he had a feeling about some numbers he copied down from a TV show that led to his buying 160 tickets for a single lottery drawing and winning $800,000. That's impressive.
That sounds a little sketchy to me.
What about? Well,
I
I
had
don't
a
understand
feeling.
that. What about that sketchy?
The
I had a
issue,
feeling.
the issue
Oh, yeah,
with these
yeah.
stories, the issue with these stories is that like, if I ever won the lottery, I wouldn't be telling the news about it. Like it just seems like
you realize that the news is gonna find out, right?
Well, yeah, but like it seems like a bad idea to just be like, hey guys, I just won like $1 million. I live at this address in this state, and also my phone number is this.
That's not
So if you
exactly
wanna
what
reach
Yeah,
happened.
but
out,
you don't win all $1
congratulate
million
me.
because you pay like half of it in taxes.
Yeah,
It's so
you
dumb.
get like half. Like
No
cut
way,
the thing in half,
bro.
and that's about the money you get in your
That
pocket.
crazy? That's so crazy, Bo. No way. I didn't think that one through.
Hey Billy,
Can
how
you
about that
believe that
AirPod
taxes
you're using that you
go
dropped in
on
the
one?
Okay.
urinal?
Okay, we don't have to talk.
Didn't we
about
talk
it.
about that on the
Using
music
an
pod?
AirPod covered in piss.
I think we
Oh,
cut. Before
yes, we did.
that. I know. I'm pretty sure we cut before that.
And I
But
believe,
yes, everybody, for all our.
No, I'm pretty sure we didn't cut that out. Joey, did we cut that out?
We did not cut that out.
Good.
Not my urinal.
Unless it was right
I don't
after
even
the
know.
Evan
Yes, it's
interview,
other
that
people's
stayed
piss
in.
and your
But
piss.
anyways, this is our
Well, yeah,
this is
but,
our
like,
final headline, I believe, on For
I
Real.
think
unless
about
I
it this way, Bo. I don't
unless-
think about like it as being other people's pee.
Shut
Like-
up.
What if they had,
Okay.
Like every
Really,
time
what
you
if they
shake
have
a random
STDs?
person's hand, it's not like totally different.
It's not the same as. It's like if someone urinates in your ear.
Okay.
I wouldn't
And
mind.
kind of on that, and kind of finishing up on that same topic. Here's our last headline on For Real. China recommends flight attendants wear diapers.
I'm cool with that.
Y'all know that it's snowing out, right?
It's supposed
It
to
snows
snow.
every
I
time
don't
we do
see
the pod.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean this one was planned.
Every Wednesday, guys.
And before we head out, I just want to cap off this pre-Christmas episode of the pod. We will do one more episode next week, where we will have our end of the year breakdown of 2020. Special Christmas episode coming up next week. But before we do that, and before we head out of this pod, I want to know all your guys' biggest number one, just the biggest pet peeve that all you guys have. Eddie?
I don't. Oh wow. Okay.
I'm gonna
Whenever
need some
Joey
time to
talks
think
about
about
the
this one.
Patriots.
Billy, what's your biggest pet peeve?
So I'm not gonna talk about my biggest pet peeve. I just want to say how I clickbaited a bunch of people. So, basically, I said on the music pod that I have something really cool planned on Wednesday, and I had literally nothing planned. And now a bunch of people are like, "Oh man, he had nothing planned." I'm a really smart businessman, guys.
Okay, Bo, what's your since we're not really doing pet peeves, just Bo, you got 1 minute of just talking about whatever the heck you want. Starting now.
It's snowing out. Look. Look, guys. It's snowing.
Eddie, what are we gonna do on the music?
We can't see
podcast?
that. And Eddie, well, before we do that, Eddie, you get 1 minute to talk about whatever you want, and then we'll cap
What the
off
hell?
talking about the music pod and signing off. 1 minute of FaceTime for Eddie.
You know, I always have a pet peeve until people ask me about my pet peeve, and then I just kind of forget about it.
That's a
So-
horrible pet peeve.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm gonna say my pet peeve is Joey putting me on the spot.
So that's a banging end to a banging podcast. And Eddie, do you want a quick preview of our music podcast? Coming up hopefully this Saturday, but if we can't record it on Saturday, it'll be out on Monday. So just look out in those 2 days. So it's kind of a loose scheduling, but yeah, Eddie, what do we have out on the music pod this coming week?
We got the first annual Eddie Awards, where we review everything in 2020 and each make our nominations for various categories, such as, oh no,
It's gonna be so stupid.
Poor Eddie.
for those at home. What?
Go on, Eddie.
For those at home, Bo is positioning the camera near his. Well,
No.
My face.
Nose.
What about
Okay.
the music
Oh, my
podcast,
word.
Eddie?
Eddie, are you okay?
What?
A seizure or something? Stroke or something?
What'd you say?
Jesus.
Okay,
What
so
about-
He's worried about your
that's all
medical
for today
condition.
for the For the Boys Sports podcast. We thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and
also-
review this podcast and the music podcast on all of our platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube,
Suck your
and
mom.
SoundCloud.
Suck your mom.
Thank you so much for
Suck your
listening.
mom.
Have a
And
great
the
day,
music podcast is
everybody.
gonna be so much more interesting because we're not talking about Kid Cudi's trash, huh?
Peace.